When we think about the Melbourne Cup, we think about the legends who have been good enough to win it, let alone win not one, but two. And our very special guest, a star jockey who won the Melbourne Cup on two occasions in Jimmy Cassidy. Hello, Pump. Great to have you on the show.
Yeah, likewise, mate. Under difficult circumstances with this Zoom, it's a whole new thing to me, but lovely to catch up, mate.
And how are you, Pump? You're looking fit. Have you been doing some exercise?
Well, my place is very manicured at the moment. You'd swear I've been out with a little pair of scissors chopping the greens and the fairways, but I've had plenty of time and to manicure, and the place looks beautiful. It's been nice. Very lucky, Richo, that I can get out on the property and get that fresh air into the lungs and keep corona free, which is beautiful.
How long have you been retired now, mate?
Coming up 4 years.
Yeah, was it Oaks Day 4 years ago?
Look, it was, but look, I had a great time, mate. My life in racing was, the heights I got to was very unexpected. I loved the game. I put everything into it. As you know, it was very well documented that it was a bit of a roller coaster ride, but no regrets. I just loved every minute of it. And to finish the way I did at Flemington I was blown out, brought a tear to my eye, and I could have thought of no better place to hang up the boots. It was where my life in racing pretty much started, on the big stage. And I've always regarded Flemington, with no disrespect to Sydney. I know I'm a Sydney boy, but Flemington is, to me, the big stage, and what a way to finish. Not a winner on my final day, but being with all my fellow competitors and the great people in racing that I had so many great times over 38 years, getting my 100 at Flemington, retiring at Flemington, couldn't have asked for anything better, mate.
Well, that's where we got to know you. Everyone in New Zealand racing, of course, knew you, but we got to see you in that famous Melbourne Cup, and I can remember seeing this tough New Zealand stayer just wandering around the mounting yard. He was a freak, that horse.
He was. Look, I can see it was clear as yesterday or today, standing in the mounting yard, the late Colin Hayes, the late Bart Cummings, and the late Tommy Smith, all standing together. They all had runners in the Melbourne Cup, and they were standing there looking at Kiwi. And the reason I remember this and see it so clearly, I was about 3 steps away from them, in awe, seeing these three wonderful legends of Australian racing standing there looking at the horse that I'm about to ride in the Melbourne Cup. And funny enough, Richo, the comment they made stood clearly in my head till today. He was the only horse in the mounting yard, relaxed, not jig jogging, and never had a sweat mark on him.
Oh, that is brilliant. Now, be honest, mate. When did you think you were going to win?
I thought he was going to win the day I left New Zealand. I think it was about the 2 weeks before he won at a place called Egmont in Hara. He carried 9 stone. He ran a track record. He come from last, and he was going to a place called Melbourne, Flemington, to run in the Melbourne Cup. It just had Pumper written all over it.
And the plan was always to sit last, was it, Pump, or were you just showing off a bit?
Just skylarking, as I've always done in my career. But look, I would sit here today after 30, 40 years in racing, and I would say, I know we've seen the great Mackay Diva win 3. We've seen some great horses win the Melbourne Cup, but I've never seen a stayer like him, and I was just lucky to be part of history in the respect of a Kiwi horse coming from last to win the great race, the Melbourne Cup.
Takes the lead. Kiwi will beat them all. It's come from last. Kiwi's won the Melbourne Cup. A blistering performance.
As a little Kiwi kid growing up, did you know much about the Melbourne Cup?
Richo, I used to take my push bike to school on the first Tuesday of November every year from the time I was about 6 years old. And at 2:30, I'd be on the push bike. It took me about 18 minutes to get home. And I would be home, sitting on my lounge with my dad, watching the Melbourne Cup. And that's how I remember it. Dad would come home from work to watch the Melbourne Cup every year. And it was run, I think, 10-3 back in those days. And I would be home from school the teacher would go, "Okay, see you, Jimmy. I know where you're going." And I would break off a branch off a tree outside. I would sit on the armchair on my dad and mum's couch at home and make out I was riding in the Melbourne Cup. And I said to my mum and dad, I'm going to ride in one of them one day. And I think I was about 7 or 8 when I said that, Richo.
Oh, that's brilliant, mate. And your life changes. You settle in Sydney. You're one of our leading jockeys. And then you win another cup, and you've had time in the last month to reflect a lot on the career of an incredible horse, Might and Power.
Yeah, look, he was. He was the complete package of an athlete. For a racehorse, in respect, he had the build, he had the determination, he just had that will to win, and being the big horse that he was, he just wanted everything over and done in 5 minutes. And it was always hard to control. You had to get him to relax and come back underneath you. But look, my association with him was beautiful. He, from his mouth to my hands, we just had something that connected and clicked on the right occasions, on the big days, on the right time. And yeah, very, very special horse. To be on him, I felt like a pea on a pumpkin because he was so big and bold. The 3 big days that I won on him, I've never seen a horse parade in a Group 1 or any race with so much determination. I was standing in the mounting yard looking at him, and all I could see written all over him was kill, crush, destroy. And that's exactly what he done most of the time when he got out on that racetrack, more so probably the Caulfield Cup, and then obviously on to the Melbourne Cup, which had never been done, to see one lead and win the Melbourne Cup the way that he did.
Might and Power, the leader inside the 200, 2 lengths in front of Linesman, and then Doremus on the outside. Might and Power, the leader. Doremus trying hardest, coming at him. Might and Power and Doremus. Doremus getting to Might and Power. They hit the line photo. Oh, nothing between them. Doremus or Might and Power in a close.
Obviously, I thought I'd got beat on the line when my great mate G Hall went like this.
And Greg Hall has thrown the whip in the air. He thinks he's won. In behind.
But I finally worked out when I said to Johnny Lex, what number's in the frame? He said, you got it, pump number 3. I thought I knew Hawley was waving to some girl in the grandstand.
Here's a loaded question for you, Jim. Who's the best Australian jockey at the moment?
At the moment, I wouldn't swap D. Oliver. If I had to put my last $10 on a jockey, I would say D. Oliver, J. Mac, and I'm very impressed the way that G. Boss has turned his life around, found a bit of form again in those big ones. He's an amazing rider. But they're my 3 that stand out. Vigorous, if I had to eliminate them 3 and go to one more, I'd have everything on Nastrowella to lift one over the line in a tight finish.
Well, I'm going to cut up that answer and send it over to Hong Kong, because I think your son-in-law, Zack Burton, is the best Australian jockey at the moment.
But he's not in Australia. He's in Hong Kong.
But he's an Australian, my friend.
He is an Australian. What he's done there is amazing. He's rewritten history, money, winners, superb. But Zack ticks all the boxes. He reads races well. He reads those tracks very well. He rides them well. A number of winners that he's ridden shows that. His determination, since he's been in Hong Kong, he's obviously gone to another level. But look, there's no one more proud of Zack than me. I loved it when I was riding against him, when I knew that he was chasing my daughter around to put him in his place and knock him off here and there. But no one's more proud of Zack than me, Richo. He's doing a great job, and I'm looking forward to him coming home and taking him on Pumpers Golf Course and any other golf course to get a bit of that Hong Kong money back in my pocket.
So did he sidle up next to you in the jockey's room and say, Mr. Cassidy, is it okay if I date your daughter?
Funny enough, we were at Randwick barrier trials, sitting on the top of the hill in between trials, me and Zack, and he was sitting next to me. He said, Pump, how do you get a good woman? I said, when you get one, I said, you nail their foot to the floor. He said, I think I might do that. He said, I'm dating your daughter. But no, very proud of him. What he's doing over there is marvellous. I'm looking forward to Nicole and Zack coming home with the kids, Roxy and Cashman. They're beautiful. Before the coronavirus really set in, I had Nicole and the kids back here for a couple of weeks, and we had a little birthday party for little Cash, and all he loved was, Poppy, can I come back on the tractor? And it was just beautiful to have them here, and I can't wait till they eventually come home.
Oh, that sounds beautiful, mate. You look like a Pop.
Yeah, well, I'm Pop and Vicky's Lolly, so they've got Lollipop.
And you're spending a lot of time playing golf, and I do notice that you're wearing proudly a Lexus golf shirt. You're very close to your heart, of course, Lexus, and also the Lexus Melbourne Cup.
The Lexus Melbourne Cup's very close to my heart, and I'm very lucky to be involved with Lexus Parramatta, who are a big part of the Melbourne Cup also, being a Lexus franchise. And they've been terrific to me, Richo. After I had my accident, they come on board and sort of drove me here and there, and now I'm a Lexus ambassador, which I'm very proud to be. Obviously, close to my heart, as you mentioned, the Melbourne Cup, and that's very special to me.
And on the Lexus Melbourne Cup Tour, you get to see the reaction of the public when they grab that amazing trophy. The look in their eyes is amazing.
It's mind-boggling. Look, I was lucky enough. I've been to Alice Springs, and we've got right out to the Indigenous part of Alice, and that was amazing. We also went to Perth one year, and we seen from the top to the bottom. We seen the street people that live on the street, you know, the old people's home, and then we ended up at the casino. The one thing that amazed me, Richo, the impression and the look on everybody's faces, from the street people to the elderly to the high rollers at the casino, the joy of seeing the Melbourne Cup and being able to hold it with those white gloves on, the reaction was exactly the same. And it was no different to me when I first seen it or being part of it. And to be part of the tour, which I've been lucky enough to do since I've been retired, it's flabbergasting to see the look on everybody's faces, from little kids to old adults. I remember we were at the old people's home, and one of the gentlemen sitting there, he was in his late 80s, very late 80s, and he's putting his hand up, and I'm up doing a little bit of a Q&A, and he goes, Jimmy, he never had one tooth in his mouth. He goes, Pumper. He said, you've set a record here today. I said, why is that, sir? He said, you're the smallest person that's ever been in here. And he's holding the Melbourne Cup. And that was the thing that's amazed me over the tour. The expression of people holding the cup and feeling it is the same reaction. Joy, delight, and happiness. It's amazing.
Oh, mate, you're one of the chosen few. We could do this for hours. Time doesn't permit. Thanks so much. Please say hi and love to Lolly.
I certainly will. Lovely to talk to you, mate. Great to catch up.
Good on you, mate. See you soon, buddy.
Thank you, pal.